Welcome back. It's still Business Morning on Channels Television, and we're coming to you live from our studios in Lagos, Nigeria. On the program today, our focus is on agriculture. We're looking at the agricultural transformation agenda, and we're looking at some aspects of it, in particular, agriculture biotechnology, or what everybody seems to be talking about, genetically modified seeds or crops, and which invariably turns to genetically modified food. I have two gentlemen on the program to talk about this with me today. Mr. Alfred Uwiraka, he's a Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Fry Consult Limited, and African Farmer Mogaji. He's an agri-information broker and consultant as well as a farmer. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning. Thank you for coming in.
Good morning.
Well, we're talking agriculture today, and of course, Mr. Mogaji, as usual, you've come very prepared. But let's talk about the issues on ground, the agricultural transformation agenda. It's seen, remarkable strides. It's witnessing remarkable strides in the last couple of months, and the Ministry of Agriculture is not relenting in its promise to ensure that Nigeria becomes self-sufficient in terms of food production. But there's this particular issue that has come up, which is the fact that genetically modified seeds or crops want to be introduced. But could you just explain to us what genetically modified seeds are all about? Mr. Uwirika, let's start with you.
Primarily, the issues of genetically modified seeds or crops is only aimed at achieving certain goals. It's all a matter of biological process of managing seeds in such a way that they can serve certain purposes. And the bottom line is economic, to ensure that you have better yields, you have resistant seeds to the environment in terms of floods, in terms of herbicide applications, and ultimately to a wealth to the farmer. That ultimately means you have to examine the economics of it. It's been proven that even that it is really economic. But when you are in an adverse environment, like happened during floods, and some environments are encumbered by these challenges, they've been identified that you have to introduce means of making sure they remain farming and achieve the same yield without having to completely shut down. So the introduction of genetically modified seeds was only aiming to get seeds that can go through the resistance we are talking about now. We talk about floods, we talk about herbicides, we're talking about even weeds. Look at the Bible that tells the weeds can swallow the crops. So these are the basic things. What has happened is they're trying to investigate if these will become harmful to human living. Up to this moment, it's been difficult to find out from the initiators areas that it could be harmful to human beings. They thought it's been beneficial. Experiments are going on left and right. So the seed modification is just going through the genes of the molecules of seeds and see if they can alter those variances that will be engenic enough for the seeds to grow and satisfy the goals of making sure the seeds give you the yield that is required.
Okay, Mr. Mogaji, you're a farmer.
Yeah.
Have you, at any time, in the course of farming and the rest of it, used genetically modified seeds or crops?
Well, I have not, but I've seen some in Nigeria. One of the things about genetically modified crops is it's more beautiful than the natural thing.
And when it's even more beautiful, is it healthier?
That's a school of that's a discussion that all over the world people are still talking about it. There's no conclusion being reached yet. You find some scientists say that it's hazardous to the health long term, while some say no. Nutritionally, if you don't have a nutrient in a crop and it has been introduced, then value has been added, so it's a benefit. So it's something that over 10 years, the discussion is still on and is heated.
So in Nigeria at the moment, we know that the Ministry of Agriculture actually has plans to introduce or to begin to encourage farmers to be, more inclined to using genetically modified seeds and crops. And this has raised a furore among some people. They're particularly unhappy because they feel that it is not healthy.
Let me first say this. I brought these apples. Now, this is red apple, this is green apple.
Have they been genetically, genetically modified?
They're not.
Okay.
So if they blend the two, pick something, a good trait from this, some people like red, some like green. Some people would like, we have the peach, which is the green and the red. Okay? So what they do is they pick a gene from here, match the two together, and it gives you a peach apple. So you have a complete apple. Now, nothing has been altered.
Will it be the same size?
It can be the same size, but basically it's been done for particular traits, maybe disease resistance. Seeds have been modified over time. It's part of the process. Hybrid, but it's done naturally as against in the laboratory. Okay, but when you now begin to find a trait in corn, that maybe is resistant to something, and you pick it from the DNA of a corn and you induce it into apple, developing the apple, that is when you have a genetically engineered crop. But modified is just improving on something. Engineered is you bring something totally different that is not in apple or maize and you introduce it. Now, having said that, in Nigeria and across Africa, we love nature and we try to get closer to nature. However, the challenges of climate change, floods, and co is real.
Yes, that's Mr. Werek actually
It's
mentioned
real.
it.
So there are two sides to the coin. If you look at food security, then you can look at, okay, fine, we don't have a lot of infrastructure in place. So on the interim, if we bring in these things, we can use it, to fix the problem should it arise. However, also, now we have a challenge of food wastage. So if we have food wastage and we bring in genetically improved seeds to have higher yield and disease resistance, and we still have more crops, more harvest, it will end up wasting.
Mr. Iwereka, what are your thoughts on this?
I think we've had to look at this issue very well on the economic side. In real terms, the challenge we have in Nigeria is that we're all almost at the subsistence level. When you're at the subsistence level, it means that agents who harness windows of production from the farms, they just take it up and pile it up somewhere, and there's no transformation going on from that point of added value of storage. So when you have the window of stocks that are available, and you tell a farmer you're going to give him high-yielding seeds, very resistant and all that, while he binds to that, what happens to him when the harvest is done? He doesn't add money to his income. So at the end of the day, there's this thing about, do we really need it? That is the issues that are coming up. But I always have one thing in mind. Science is an ongoing thing. We must be a part of a global village. We don't want to be caught unawares. What the minister is hoping is that it should be a subject of discourse. And at the end of the day, professors and lecturers and university scientists will begin to explore like they are doing in the US. As at 2 days ago, they were still talking about it in California. Does FDA have a right to control genetically modified seeds? FDA said they won't control. They will only get involved at the point of value addition. So if it doesn't appear to them at the point of process, it doesn't come under their control. But the other agencies in America have said, look, let us be careful. So because they haven't found the hindrances surrounding the use of modified seeds, to the whole world is a big show. Even in America, where you think is a discerning mind, they are still skeptical. For us here in Nigeria, what we do in our processing is that the raw materials are there, but logistics cannot bring the raw materials to you. So I think generally, we are not ready yet, but it's good to have such things happening because the flood we had last year or year before, there are warning signs that we're going to have the center of tsunami, and when it comes, how ready are we to be able to attack it?
Well, Mr. Wereka, it seems as if you're taking two sides.
It has to be decided on the platform of understanding both sides.
Okay.
If you don't, you might be going wholesale, and you have challenges. It's good to look at it and study it and see where you need to apply it. We're not doing commercial agric at the moment. What you're having now is subsistence level. You meet a subsistence farmer, you're introducing seeds. If he's going to improve his income, fine. But he doesn't see it. Because what he produces is going to sell it immediately. And if he doesn't sell it, it goes to rot.